everyone, Michelle Ragusa-McBain here. Prior to COVID-19, 44% of companies did not allow their employees to work from home. And overnight, in some cases over a weekend, thousands of employees around the country and around the world were forced to work in very different circumstances than they were used to. These were unprecedented times, but I think for many of us, a really beneficial period. Imagine a time where we didn't have internet access, or social media, or unified communications, or the ability to stay connected even while we're apart. Though social distancing, we have been able to survive and thrive as a society through remote learning and many other tools such as remote working, except for, of course, our essential service workers, and we're very thankful for everything they did for us and continue to do in these challenging times. While many states are beginning to reopen up in a phased approach, it's not completely over yet. And to be honest, now that we've rubbed that genie's lamp, I do believe that we're not going to exactly put everything back the way it started. After all, employees around the world have proved that they've been able to do it. They've been able to work from home and be productive, efficient, and effective in a way that many companies were not believing could happen. Although in the beginning it was a challenge, people cobbled together solutions and allowed remote devices to be enabled and engaged. They didn't particularly give much sense to what the security risk could be. They just had to make it work. And so we as a society have made it work, and some have allowed the ability to have this happen. Others have enabled this to occur. And why I say that, it means that they've made an investment. They've paused and rethought their people, their process, and their technology, and how they can be more efficient and effective in terms of overcoming these obstacles that coronavirus has brought on the world. But the truth is, this is really a perfect storm that has been a long time coming. And this age of digital transformation, or new normal, is really something that our world has been ready for, but this was a catalyst to spring us into immediate action. If you're like me, and I have 4 daughters ranging from law school to preschool, then you would imagine that the remote learning aspect is also very challenging for many parents during this difficult time. In addition to the fact that there's some people that are immunocompromised, like myself. I had heart surgery 2 years ago, as I've shared my story with many of you, and you might be aware. But for those of you who don't, you don't have to necessarily look a certain way or be a certain age to have pre-existing conditions which can put you at risk. So we have been, as a family, quarantined since March, and it has been challenging at the best of times. So today, what I feel most proud of is I spend every day coaching people, every month on how to social sell while social distancing. For many people, we have a range of people that we work with. Some are just getting started in their careers and they have a real good understanding of social media, but perhaps not on how to socially sell strategically. For others, they have a great background and lots of tenure experience in selling and relationship building, but they don't know exactly how to leverage those skills on social media. So today, and for everyone who's struggling during these uncertain times, I would like to share with you 5 tips on how to continue to be successful and overcome these challenges and be a successful social seller while remaining socially distanced. I know that a lot of people have the best of intentions. When they send you a message, they're excited and enthusiastic, and they may not know what they don't know. A lot of people still continue to send those email blasts, and while respectfully I understand the intention of it, and I love a good newsletter, there's a lot of noise and clutter. Okay, and we know that our click to email open rates are very low. People are asking you to unsubscribe, or they're just ignoring it. And how do you differentiate is really through personalization. So while somebody can come across and say, hey, would love to set up a time, want to talk to you and tell you more about my products, what they're missing is we're all living our own worlds right now. We're all going through our own complexities, and those people who approach you without saying, hi, how are you? How are your family? How are you coping? They're missing a boat and being tone deaf towards the situation as it really exists and continues to exist for many people around the world. The first thing I want to tell you is not to assume that people don't want to hear from you. That's not necessarily true. Many people are still feeling very isolated and alone, and they crave connection and attention. This is a great opportunity to check in. And in fact, if I was a customer of somebody and you didn't reach out to me and ask me how I'm doing, or a colleague or a peer or a friend, then I would feel disappointed in the fact that we're not exactly as close as I would like to have believed we were. So reaching out is very important, especially to your current customer base and in the people that you're trying to prospect. Asking them how they are and listening to the answer is a very critical component, regardless of coronavirus or any other time. So you really want to consider that if you reach out with compassion and ask and listen, you don't necessarily want to text. Texting can be misconstrued right now, so I would even suggest sending a video message. It's very different, right, when you hear my voice and see my face and understand my tone and inflection. So you can do that, either set up a unified communication chat, send them a Starbucks gift card or whatever your coffee preference e-card is, and have a coffee one-on-one with each other and have a little chat. Or perhaps you want to share a glass of wine and do one of those great virtual happy hours that we've been springing up all over the internet. The other thing you want to consider is sending them a video message via LinkedIn. It is a great feature that allows you to have a communication with somebody that's a little unique and different. The second thing you want to do is connect with your team. Have a huddle. See how your own team and colleagues and peers and within your organization are doing. And ask them for best practices. Everybody's going through this in their own way, but what are some of the ways that they're overcoming challenges? Share those ideas with one another and help each other succeed and thrive in these challenging times. Third, I'd like for you to reach out to past prospects. Say, hi, how are you doing? I want to make sure that you're doing okay. I know this has been a stressful time for all of us. If you know that they have children, ask how they're doing with that process, as many of us are going back to virtual learning right now, and it's a complicated period of time. So you really want to ask them, check in with them, and personalize and customize your message and your inquiry so that it feels very authentic and real, and it should be at the end of the day. That's exactly the place where you should be while you're social selling. It's not about spamming and spraying people with your message and what you want them to sell, but it's about listening to their problems and understanding the opportunities and seeing if you can help them. Number 4, be a resource, offer tips, add value. And it doesn't necessarily have to be your products or solutions. You can suggest some working from home tips that have worked for you. You can suggest some new Netflix opportunities to binge. You can talk about homeschooling tips for people that have had this complexity as well and they're working to overcome them. And so once you know some of their issues, you can have a talk tracks that will surround ways that they can improve and deal with some of these challenging areas of opportunity. You also want to ask how you can support them, especially if you have clients or prospects that are in challenging areas of the business. For example, if you're in healthcare or education, perhaps you have a pretty good budget and you obviously have to make some very significant rapid changes. It's probably a little bit more challenging for people that are in travel and leisure, the tourism industry, as well as casinos, which are only opened at a 33% capacity. So thinking about your vertical and industry and sub-industry of your prospects and understanding what their complexities as a norm are, and then listening and asking if those are some issues and how you can help are very vital. And finally, number 5 is probably the most important, but you want to be a positive source of inspiration. There has been so much polarization and disparity and hatred spewed on social media. It's exhausting, and many times people are regretting their decisions, but you can never take out or put back together what is already released. So be conscious of the words that come out of your mouth or the posts that you share, and people can fact check on their own. They don't necessarily need to hear political opinions, but I instead would choose to be a source of positivity and inspiration. It doesn't mean you're an ostrich with your head in the sand. It just means that you're not trying to highlight the negative things. You're trying to give people a break from their sadness and their complexity, and you're trying to give them a little source of light and inspiration, and that will go over a huge way. And again, it's okay to talk about your opportunities. That's not being opportunistic, especially if you can help somebody. So I hope this helps, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye.